What if I told you that dating over 70 isn't just harder, it's more dangerous than ever? Not just for your heart, but for your peace of mind, your finances, and your sense of self. At our age, we're not just looking for love, we're guarding what's left of our time. And trust me, the rules, they're nothing like what they were in our 30s or 40s. So before you say yes to that next dinner date, you might want to hear this first. Let's be real. Dating over 70 feels like stepping into a world we no longer recognize. The apps, the expectations, the baggage, whew! But here's the thing. Just because we've got gray hair and a few more stories behind us doesn't mean we're done wanting connection. We still crave laughter, touch, companionship, and maybe, just maybe, a little romance. But before we open that door wide again, there are things we need to talk about. The risks, the red flags, the unexpected joys, and the silent truths no one really warns us about. Let's take a walk through it together. Part 1. The illusion of it'll be just like before. Approx 500 words without spaces. You know what I used to think? That dating again in my 70s would feel familiar. Like slipping on an old pair of shoes, comfortable, predictable, safe. But let me tell you something, from one soul to another, it's not. It's not like riding a bike. It's more like walking into a room where the furniture's been rearranged and no one told you. The rules, they've changed. The people, they're not who we used to know. And us? We're not the same either. We carry more memories now, more bruises, more guarded smiles. You see, the biggest mistake we make, and I've made it too, is believing that love, this time, will be easier. Because we're older, more mature, more honest. But here's the kicker. Some people get sneakier with age, not wiser, just better at hiding their loneliness behind charm, or hiding their problems behind sweet words. I've met folks who've been divorced 3 times who still blame every ex. Folks who smile wide but won't tell you about the adult kids who won't talk to them. And worse, folks who look you in the eye and say all the right things just to avoid being alone. Now, I'm not saying everyone's like that. Of course not. But we've got to stop thinking that just because someone's our age, they're safe. Because here's what I've learned the hard way. People over 70, they've had decades to collect pain, to build walls, to perfect the story they want you to believe. So before we say yes, we've got to pause. Ask the quiet questions. Notice how they talk about others, how they treat the waitress, how they handle a no, and most importantly, how we feel when we're around them. Not flattered, not impressed, but safe. If you don't feel safe, it's not love. It's distraction. And we didn't come this far just to be someone's emotional band-aid. So no, it's not just like before. It's something else entirely. And maybe that's a good thing, because this time, we're not here to be rescued. We're here to be seen. Truly, clearly, and without apology. The truth about lonely hearts. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said out loud enough. Loneliness. That quiet ache that follows us home after the phone stops ringing. That pause in the middle of dinner when we realize there's no one across the table. I'll be honest with you. I used to think I was just fine on my own. Strong, independent, self-sufficient. But deep down, I missed being asked how my day was. I missed the little things. Like someone putting their hand on mine for no reason at all. So when someone finally came along, smiled warmly, laughed at my jokes, said they felt the same, oh, it felt like rain after a long drought. But here's the danger. When we're lonely, we hear what we want to hear, not always what's real. We fill in the blanks with hope. We ignore the red flags because we're so relieved not to be invisible anymore. I've seen it happen. To friends, to people I love, to myself. We meet someone who seems perfect. They call every day. They remember our favorite songs. They say all the right things at just the right time. But then comes the small requests. Can you lend me a little money till payday? My car broke down again. I'd visit you more, but gas prices are high. And before we know it, we're not just giving our hearts, we're giving our time, our energy, our peace, and sometimes our savings. It's not just about scams, though that happens too. Sometimes it's just emotional draining. Someone who sees your kindness and starts leaning on it like a crutch until you're carrying both your pain and theirs. So how do we protect ourselves? We stop mistaking attention for love. We stop thinking that being wanted is the same as being respected. And we ask the question we've been too afraid to ask. Does this person truly add to my life, or do they just fill a silence? Because love, real love, it doesn't come from fear. It doesn't feed off your loneliness. It meets you in it and lifts you gently out of it. You're not weak for wanting companionship. You're human, but you're also worthy of a connection that gives more than it takes. So the next time someone new comes into your world, pause. breathe, and ask yourself this: am I drawn to them, or am I just afraid of being alone? There's a difference, and knowing that difference, it could save you from heartbreak all over again when family gets in the way. Now here's something no one warns you about. You're not just dating them, you're dating their past, and sometimes their family. Whew, let me tell you, nothing complicates a new romance at our age quite like adult children. I've seen it more times than I can count. Two people over 70 finally find each other, finally feel that spark again. And then, boom, in comes the daughter who thinks you're after his money, or the son who says she's replacing mom. They smile at you in public, but behind closed doors, they whisper, they dig, they question your every move, and the person you're dating, they're caught in the middle. They don't want to upset their kids, but they don't want to lose you either. And suddenly, something that started with laughter and long walks turns into guilt, pressure, and cold silences at family dinners. And it hurts. It hurts to feel like you're being judged for simply wanting happiness again. Like you have to defend yourself, your intentions, your feelings, just to be allowed to love someone. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone wants to see you happy. Some people, even family, hold on to grief like a badge. They're not ready for dad to move on. They still see mom's ghost in every room. Or worse, they see your relationship as a threat to their inheritance, their routine, their comfort. Now don't get me wrong, family matters, but so does your heart, so does your peace. And at this stage in life, you shouldn't have to choose between the two. What we need, what we deserve, is a partner who's willing to stand beside us, not hide us, not keep a secret to avoid drama. Love, real love, doesn't ask you to shrink. It says, this is who I care about, get used to it. And yes, there might be tension at first. There might be distance. But let me ask you this. If someone truly loves you, aren't they worth a little discomfort? A little backbone? Because if they're not willing to speak up for you now, what happens when things get hard? When health fades? When real support is needed? So don't ignore the signs. If you find yourself always being introduced as a friend, if you're never invited to holidays, if decisions are made behind your back, that's not partnership. That's convenience. And at 70-something, you deserve more than being convenient. You deserve to be chosen, fully, openly, and without apology. The hidden cost of starting over. Let's talk about something a little uncomfortable. Starting over isn't free. Not emotionally, not financially, not even physically. At our age, saying yes to someone new isn't just about opening your heart. It's about opening your life, your home, your schedule, and sometimes your wallet. I've seen it happen too many times. A sweet romance begins. Two people laugh again, hold hands again. They talk about maybe moving in together, or even getting married. And then the unspoken stuff starts showing up. Whose name is on the house? Who pays the bills? Who helps who with medications, appointments, errands? And if one of you gets sick, who becomes the caregiver? It's not like dating at 25. At 25, you merge dreams. At 75, you merge realities, sometimes messy ones, sometimes expensive ones. And if we're not careful, we start giving away more than just our affection. We give up routines that kept us grounded. We adjust to someone else's health needs, family drama, financial instability, and little by little, we lose ourselves. Now, let me be clear. Love does ask for compromise, but it shouldn't ask you to disappear. So before you say yes, ask yourself the hard stuff. If they move in, are they contributing or are they leaning? Do you feel like a partner or more like a caregiver? Do you still have your own time, space, independence? Or are you bending over backwards to keep things easy? You see, love shouldn't feel like a transaction. It shouldn't cost your peace. It shouldn't make you feel like you owe someone just for being chosen again. But I've seen people, kind, generous, beautiful souls, give everything because they were afraid to lose someone, afraid that this might be their last chance. But let me tell you this, love isn't a clearance sale. You don't have to mark yourself down just to be wanted. You've built a life. You've come through storms. You have routines, traditions, preferences, and they matter. You get to say, this is how I live. Can you walk with me in that? Not, I'll change everything just to keep you. And if they can't accept that, if they start taking without giving, that's not love. That's emotional debt. And you don't owe anyone that kind of price, no matter how long you've been alone. So before you dive in, count the cost. Not because you're cold, but because you're wise. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And that's your power. Saying yes to yourself first. After everything we've been through, the heartbreaks, the losses, the long quiet nights, it's easy to forget something important. We get to choose ourselves first. Let that sink in. Before we say yes to someone new, we should already be saying yes to ourselves, to our peace, our time, our freedom. Because love in its healthiest form should feel like a bonus, not a rescue mission. It should feel like a gentle addition, not a chaotic replacement. Too many of us, especially as we age, feel like we need to compromise just to not be alone. We start believing this is our last shot, that we're too old to be picky, too wrinkled to be wanted, too tired to start again. But none of that is true. What's true is this: you are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not obligated to entertain anyone who doesn't honor who you've become. We've spent decades taking care of others. Children, parents, partners, friends. We've juggled jobs, illness, funerals, financial crises, and still smiled through it. So if now, finally, someone new walks into our world, they better come correct, with honesty, with kindness, with consistency. No smoke and mirrors, no guilt tripping, no games, and most importantly, no pressure to become someone we're not. Because at this age, we've earned the right to be fully ourselves. No edits, no filters. We can take the trip alone if we want to. Eat breakfast for dinner, laugh too loud at the movies, say no to drama, and yes to peace. So before you say yes to dating again, say yes to you. Say yes to your right to take things slow, to ask tough questions, to walk away when something doesn't sit right. Say yes to boundaries, to joy, to comfort in your own skin. Because when you do, the right person will recognize it. They'll see that you're not looking for someone to complete you. You've already done the work. You're just looking for someone to walk beside you, not carry you, not control you, just walk, side by side. And if that's not what they want, well then you'll keep walking anyway, with your head held high. Because saying yes to love is powerful. But saying yes to yourself, that's the most powerful thing of all. If this message resonated with you, if it made you pause and think before saying yes to someone new, then I hope you'll take a moment, just a moment, to breathe, to remember how far you've come, to trust that your story isn't over, just evolving. And hey, if you found any comfort, wisdom, or clarity here today, would you do something small but meaningful? Click that subscribe button. Join us here where real conversations happen, where growing older doesn't mean fading away, it means growing deeper. You're not alone in this season. We're walking it together, so stick around. There's more to talk about, and I'd love to have you here for the journey.